Oh no, it cracked! I completely destroyed a cup I was making for my daughter's mud kitchen out of this log. But I ended up being able to salvage it and turn it into something that I think is pretty cool. After cutting the log to the right size, I pulled out this new ball gouge that ArborTech sent me to test it out. It's really hard to find good tools for carving into logs, so I was excited to test this out on my first project that I royally screwed up. The first thing was that I hollowed out the inside of this log with the ball gouge. One thing I learned that'll work much better for next time is to actually drill a hole on the inside first and then use the ball gouge to hollow the rest of it out. After that, I removed all of the bark. Now, this log was a little bit more wet than it should have been, and so it didn't turn out quite as smoothly on the outside as it would if the log was dry. There's truly something so satisfying about removing bark from a log. Now, this is where I really screwed things up. I wanted to test out the ball gouge, so I carved a handhold into the cup, and ultimately it just made it too thin, but that was in the future, so I kept carving out the top, not knowing what was about to happen. Now, I'm making these cups for a mud kitchen that I just started to build. Definitely subscribe to my channel to follow that project. It's going to be pretty cool. But I wanted to try burning these cups, not because they're going to be used for drinking, they're definitely not, but because burning the wood helps to keep them from decaying and rotting and keeps bugs away. So I thought, man, it'd be a great idea just to burn the outside of this cup. Mistake number one was using this big torch. As you can see, that crack has already started to form, and by the time I turn this cup, you'll see that there is a massive hole in the side. So if I was going to try to burn a cup like this in the future, I would use my smaller torch. I had already started using the big torch, and you could see where I'd started to hollow out for that handhold, it completely burned out that side of the cup. I decided to finish the bottom anyway, but at this point it felt like the whole project was going up in smoke. I ended up cutting off the top of the cup that had been too burned, and I tried using my smaller torch at this point, but my torch started to break and I couldn't turn it off, so it was a little bit too dangerous, so I ended up just saying, screw it, I'm going to finish this with the bigger torch like I started. But between the wood being too wet and using the bigger torch, there was cracks in the bottom and in the sides. So what was I going to use this cup for that could no longer hold water? Before throwing it in the trash and chalking it up to a couple hours spent on lessons learned, I decided to finish the last step of wire brushing all of the ash and loose carbon off of the edges just to see what it looked like. And honestly, it turned out pretty cool, and I didn't want to just throw it away. So I was racking my brain to go, what in the world can I use this for? And that's when I remembered that my wife had been propagating some spider plants. So I put potting soil from our greenhouse, put a little water in there to get it going, and put the spider plant in. And honestly, this is way cooler than what I was going to use it for to begin with. My wife loves indoor plants, so there's a really good chance I'm going to have more of these wooden plant holders in my future. If you like seeing cool things made out of logs, make sure to subscribe to my channel.